A nigga like me, man, I love the game. I love the hustle, man. I be feeling like one of them ball-playing niggas, you know? Like Bird or Magic or something. Yeah, you know, a nigga got dough. A nigga could leave the league. But if I leave, the fans still gonna love me, man? I get love out here in Harlem, man. I done sold coke on these streets, man. Hash, weed, heroin. As long as niggas is feeling it, a nigga like me can hustle it. That's my gift in life, eh? You know? What? The fuck you laughing at, B?
You, man. Funny, man. You a hustling motherfucker, man. For real, baby. You fucking killing me, man.
Well, you know me, baby.
You know what, people? I really don't like getting, I would like to think I've never gotten into like any YouTube issues or videos, anything like that. So hopefully I can keep that streak going and not getting into any YouTube beefs or anything. But sometimes, every once in a while, I would like to put people's names in my videos and call them and just tell the truth. And you may say, well, what is the truth? I'm gonna tell you, black people, we're not gonna make it a lot of times. A lot of times we are where we are. We are financially illiterate and you know, we're at the bottom of the totem pole because most people think like this guy who I'm about to play. There are a lot of people. I just made a video about ruling class mentality. And I put that video up about why black people need a ruling class mentality, which we don't have. And this brother is a classic example of what I mean by that. He doesn't have a ruling class mentality, but he thinks he's special. So I'm gonna play a couple of clips of this brother talking, and I'm gonna basically give you the brief synopsis, a general idea of what I mean by, you know, a slave mentality. So here we go.
All right, my final vid for the night, I promise. Still, make sure. Okay. Boyce Watkins. And this guy here, I'm firmly convinced he is purposely misleading the people. Why do I say this? Because Boyce Watkins tweeted out a tweet earlier today saying, repeat after me, my grandbabies will be billionaires. Billionaires, dude. I hope you didn't really mean that. So this guy, Boyce Watkins, has a PhD in finance, I believe, from Syracuse. I have yet to hear any success stories out of his financial wellness boot camp. I do firmly believe that he is planted to feed and fill people up with false realities or, ideas of economic success. And truth be told, more than half of the black households are either living in poverty or hovering above poverty. The reality is none of us will be billionaires, and the few that are chosen to be the face of black billionaires aren't really billionaires and are somehow, manufactured or crafted or, propped up. Boyce Watkins, I believe, is one of the gatekeepers that will, lead you astray. Now, do I have a smoking gun? No, I do not. But he did go to Syracuse, and Syracuse is heavy Jesuit. It has a lot of Jesuit activity, especially at Syracuse University. A lot of Jesuit activity there. The hospitals, there's Shriner, there's a cathedral somewhere in there. Listen, I don't care enough about Boyce Watkins to look him up, to look up his background, see who we're related to. I really don't care about Boyce. I do have a problem with Boyce out here telling people to, you know, think like me. Yes, your grandbabies will become no, the fuck they won't. The reality is, they will be poor, and part of the majority poor, because the majority of black folk, whether they lack financial expertise or don't have the means to free themselves economically, it just, the odds are that they too will be working class poor, if not worse. This man is not addressing these tax cuts and how they will impact our communities greatly and heavily. I don't think Boyce Watkins means anybody any good. Anytime I hear his name, I literally just, you know, my eyes roll in the back of my head. I shake my head, I get a headache, because I believe he's been, you know, propagated to his position. What business has he ran successfully? I've not heard of one company rep that's ever vouched for this guy that says, hey, he did this and he took us from here to there. I don't know, did he teach at Syracuse? Has any of his former students come out to say, hey, Boyce, I learned so much from him? I have not heard one cosign from a regular person about this dude. He came out of nowhere over the last few years. Out of nowhere. Nowhere. Okay? Don't fall for the okie doke, y'all. White or black, it doesn't even matter. A lot of these financial experts are experts at the shill game. They're experts at misdirection and lies and fallacies. That's what they're experts at. But like I said, until someone, you know, openly vouches for this dude that's of some pedigree that I would, you know, take serious, I can't. He's a joke to me. Boyce Watkins. All right, everybody. If you're looking for the comment that I screenshotted, Boyce Watkins took the coward route and he removed the comment. Good thing we have screenshots, huh? All right, Boyce Watkins. Let me get right to it. You said, sir, that I said all black people were meant to be poor. You never listened. You didn't watch the video. You heard something and your feelings got into it and you took it and ran with it. Not once did I ever say all black people deserve to be poor or going to be poor. I'm going by the numbers, just like you would go by the numbers, just like Tone Talks goes by the numbers, just like CDC and Black Demographics.com. We all come up with the same numbers, that the average black household will be at poverty or above poverty level. I'm not saying anything different that hasn't been said over the last decade or so. Secondly, you said I'm going to pass on piss poor behaviors and ethics when it comes to business. Well, here's where you must stand corrected, sir, because you're not dealing with an average person. For one, I have a trust fund. That means my daughter's going to be straight. Number two, I have a village. That means if I go down with the ship, that means she has grandparents. Yes, grandparents. I am not a bastard child. My parents were married when they had us, okay? So that means I have a mummy and a daddy, okay? Thirdly, I have a brother that graduated from Harvard Law. I have another brother that owns real estate in New York. So, out of all that, I'm the black sheep. And you know why I'm the black sheep? Because I'm smarter than both of them, and I do what I want. That makes me dangerous. And I'm dangerous to a guy like you. Because you know why? That means if you seen my video, that means your handlers have seen my video. And despite YouTube's best efforts to limit my view count, how is it I have over 5,400 subscribers, yet I post a video 12 hours ago and only have 400 views, is beyond me. But that means your handlers are starting to realize, hey, Boyce is losing his grip on the people. He ain't got it. So what's gonna happen is they're gonna come tap me on the shoulder and I'm gonna look them up, look them down, I'm like, what's up? And they're gonna be like,
thank you.
All right. So, let me see here. So, I'm here with Queen Princess Kennedy. What's your last name, Kennedy?
My last name is Stewart.
Stewart, Kennedy Stewart. And you just interviewed me for the film Black Friday with Rick Mathis, and there's Kennedy's mom. And you were showing me your stocks. Can you show me your stocks that you own?
The stocks that I would like like to invest in are going to be Apple, Starbucks, Nike, Yahoo, T-Mobile, Chimera, Chromadex, Verizon, and SPG.
Okay, and what makes you want to invest?
To me, I like to invest because I'm an entrepreneur, and everything I see investing in the stock market right now, that's the biggest thing besides technology had to make money. And when I see the stocks, you can invest in different things, and that will leave wealth for your future generations. And as they go, you will, even if I have from today, and I have one of these stocks, say Apple, 20 years later, they might be having flying phones, and I would make more money in double the time, like 20 times more than I've made it this year in the next 20 years. Also, when I start from now as a young age, I will be able to make extra money as I grow older.
Wow. So you and your mom talk about investing a lot and the importance of it. And you were asking me for investment advice, which is rare. You know, most 10-year-old kids, they're asking, where's the Pokemon at? You know, stuff like that. But you're looking for Pokemon stock, maybe, right? Interesting. And I was telling you all, because, we have the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program with kids your age. And a lot of the kids, I'm so impressed with Kennedy because a lot of the kids at her age are not able to communicate as well, and also the vision is not there yet.
Okay, so Silas, what does it mean to save and invest money?
What does it mean to save and invest money? So when you save money, you spend like if you got $10, you save 10% of the money. Like you can keep like $1 of the money or $2. And then when you save money, you can also, when you save money, sometimes you let your money pile up, and then you can use that money to get other things. But if you have a company and you're saving money, you can either invest in another company or invest your company. What invest means, it means to either buy a piece of another company or buy resources for your own company.
Okay, first, the video where the brother was just talking, he said that I'm not average. See, this is the thing. Every video, and you can go back and trace this, every video I have done, I have always stated you can do it too. I have always tried to instill in black people that come to my channel that, hey, you can have your own business. It is not the God-given right that the white man should sign the front of the check. It is not a God-given right that every month when you pay rent or pay your mortgage that it goes to a white man. It's not God. It's just not preordained before history that is the way it has to be. And because of that, you can win. I keep telling you can win. One of the most classic examples of winning is the Jewish people. And I know what they'll say. Well, you can't count the Jews. They had the Bilderbergers and Warburg, and he got in and helped and this and that, and the Rothschilds, and they'll say. They'll just throw some Illuminati. No real concrete documentation that on a mass scale that these people were just given certain things. But you can see on a mass scale certain money management skills, which it's legendary the way the Jews handle their money. Everybody knows how they are with their money. Are there poor Jews? Yeah, but for the most part, the Jews are a middleman culture, and they have been for centuries. Every place they go. In fact, not just the Jews, but every culture where you see a middleman group of people, those people go, like the Chinese go into certain parts of Thailand and Indonesia, and they are treated like Jews when they get there. They're hated, and a lot of people make make comments about them and make disparaging remarks about them. But they continue to be the merchants, and they build and run a lot of things economically when they leave, and it's just like the Jews. So you can't just completely just shovel a group of people off under the rug and say that they're completely where they are because someone helped them. You can't. Now, when you look at the Jews 100 years ago, they were poor. They were peddlers, a lot of them. They were middleman peddlers. That's what they were. And they went and they did what they were supposed to do and became an economically viable force to where now they're the strongest group of people in the country, even stronger than Asians. So The point I'm trying to make is this. Yeah, black people, we're poor today. Most of us are. Everything this brother just said about us being poor and economically stuck in a certain strata is a fact. That is a fact. No one ever refutes that. I don't know, but that brother in the first video, he made a video, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but he made a video saying that Boyce Watkins doesn't have a track record and this and that, right? And he hasn't done anything, and somehow because he went to Syracuse, he has a Jesuit, has some Jesuit precept. I guess somehow that makes him an agent who's secretly out to destroy black people because he went to Syracuse. Like that's really what he thinks. He tried to draw that correlation in this video. Then he went as far as to say, well, I can't find any companies where people can say, well, Boyce Watkins came in and helped our company succeed or do this and do that, right? And the thing is with Boyce Watkins, I'm not look, do I think everything Boyce Watkins says and does is do I defend it? No. I'm not like how people try to defend what's his face, Umar Johnson. Umar Johnson can do stupid stuff and people are gonna defend him. If Boyce Watkins said or did something completely ignorant, I'll call him on it. See his beef with Umar Johnson, where I feels like he's dropped 50 different videos talking about Umar Johnson. And Umar Johnson said it, and I agree with Umar. Like, damn, man, how many videos are you gonna make dissing Umar Johnson? Let it go. That's stupid, right? So I'll call him to the fire. I'll hold his feet to the fire. But when it comes to the black economic position, black people are not in a position where they even are thinking on going after, businesses. They're not in a position of thinking of going after wealth. It doesn't even cross their mind because, like I said in the other video, we don't have a ruling class mentality, i.e. Monique. Monique thinks employee. Monique thinks I'm gonna do a contract and just get a check from this company. I can't own the company and be the one writing the checks to other people to come do contracts for me. Monique is a self-employed employee. That's where she is. She owns a job, in other words. If Monique stops touring, the money stops coming in. She doesn't own a business system, and she doesn't, I don't know about her financials, but it sounds like from listening to her husband, 90% of her money comes from touring, which that's his fault. If you're a good manager, you'll set people up. Jay-Z is setting Kevin Durant up to where Kevin Durant won't have to work, and he's going to be able to own teams and own assets. So that's Kevin. That's his fault as a manager, Sidney Hicks. Now this brother sat up there and said that black people, the overwhelming majority of black people will be poor. That's what he said. He said, Boyce Watkins saying that the overwhelming majority of black people won't be poor is messed up. No, black people are gonna be poor 2 generations from now. Now, I don't see how he has that type of insight to know what could happen. Do I think it's possible or feasible that black people can have some sort of awakening economically and change? I believe it's possible. I believe it can happen. I believe it's going to take some pain to get there. I believe we're going to have to be gentrified out of all our neighborhoods. We're all going to be thrown into the South somewhere in some podunk Mississippi. And most black people are going to be there. And then they're going to finally start saying, maybe we should value our education. Maybe we should value owning businesses and land and wealth and going after those things through, skills that I can obtain on a massive scale, not being a music producer or a rapper, which statistically the chances are extremely low, but being a database developer, being a doctor, lawyer, there are way more database developers, doctors, lawyers, engineers. Those are jobs that are obtainable. Once you can obtain that, then you can start affording a certain type of high income. And if you're disciplined, you can start buying property, you can start doing things. That's what I believe. That's what I live by. That's the life I live. I'm from the ghetto. I'm from the hood. I'm from Ridgecrest, an economically depressed area in Montgomery, Alabama. An area that if you try to start a business and you put down that zip code, it's all types of government benefits and incentives that you'll get if you say you're from Ridgecrest, from 36105. Google it. So I'm from an economically depressed area, which qualifies me for a lot of, but therein I'm giving you an example as to what's out there. And the point I'm trying to make is this brother went and said that no, most black people are going to be poor. Then he comes back and say, no, Boyce, because Boyce Watkins, I'm assuming, responded to him. And he said, well, I'm just stating the statistics. No, you're stating the statistics as they are today. But you don't have any hope and you don't believe in black people. And I'm going to tell you why I know the brother doesn't believe in black people. Because first of all, he says, I'm stating these statistics as they are today. But then he talks about, let's say 70 to 100 years from now, we're still going to be where we are, which speaks to we're going to keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. Or he doesn't believe in the intellectual capacity of black people to evolve and change. You see, there are two different types of people in this world. People who believe and those who don't. And it just varies on what you believe in, what you're willing to stand for. He believes in a sort of, I'm gonna just be honest, totalitarian government regimes where they can come in and have all power and they can go in and redistribute the wealth. That's what he believes in, redistribution of wealth. He thinks that if you pull the wealth from all the rich people, then black people will get a fair chance because black people aren't intellectually powerful enough. You see, because he probably secretly is a white supremacist himself and doesn't know it. Because you have to believe that whites are supreme and that whites are better than us and that you will not win even though the game hasn't even been played yet. You get what I'm saying? Because if someone had saw the Georgia-Alabama football game at halftime, they'd have been like, oh, it's over for Alabama. There's no way Alabama will win this game. No way. So my son, who is 2 years old, is already defeated. Never mind the fact that his dad has $400,000 life insurance till he's 85. Never mind the fact that, you know, his dad is out here with a $1.5 million credit line and trying to build property and investing in cryptocurrencies and you know, making over six figures himself. His mom is making six figures. So he's in a good position. But then when I say, but the thing is, that's why I think he's a white supremacist, because he doesn't believe every black person has the capacity to make a decent income, to make at least the average, take the average from 40 to say less 80. He believes that white people can do that, but black people can't. Because black people, and I know what he'll probably say, well, they're holding us back. True, but the game hasn't even been played for my son. He's just getting started. He's not even in the game yet. But I got him at a daycare with the Asians and Indians. I'm taking him to Kumon when soon in a few months, he's gonna be at Kumon, he's gonna be learning math. I'm going to equip him with all the tools necessary to win the game. But the question you have to ask yourself is, who are you listening to? Because within his message is the heart of why I think black people are led astray most of the time. It's because we listen to brothers like this who tell us that this is where you are today and you're gonna be there for the next 100 years. I'm saying this is where we are today. We both agree on that point, but you don't have to be there 100 years from now. 100 years from now, we could be way much further along than where we are now. America may not even be around in 100 years. We don't know who's gonna be where. 100 years ago, Great Britain was just losing its grip as the world superpower. The United States was not even a world superpower until World War II. Russia, we were in a fledgling economy, sputtering along. We weren't even in the roaring 20s yet. And then we had the Great Depression and the American economy flopped and just crashed. And then we got out of it with World War II. So that's what I'm talking about. But people aren't aware of this. And so just think where the United States was 100 years ago. See, a lot of people think that white supremacy or white European dominance has to last forever. I, for one, don't believe that. There was a time when Genghis Khan was the most powerful ruler in the world, and the Mongols had the most powerful military on the face of the earth. Then there was a time where the Greek Empire had the strongest, so-called, we can debate if there were African rivals with Alexander the Great, But even when there was Alexander the Great, he wouldn't go under I think her name was Queen Goody. He would not go into Africa. He walked into Egypt, but it was under Persian rule. And he went after Persia, but he would not go up into Nubia because they were fierce warriors. So fierce that it said that they would take your eyes out from a far distance. They could shoot your eyes out. That's what I forget what they had something that had to do with eyes. That was the name of it. Go check out Home Team History. He'll help you to that. But the point I'm trying to make is white people, Europeans do not and will not rule forever. The African Americans and Africans and anyone else can rule. There can be an African empire. There can be a Wakanda. And I'm not talking about, and I know he probably hates that whole term, Wakanda. He probably thinks, oh, it's just make believe. We know it's a movie. You're not really enlightening us by telling us that there is no real Wakanda. There's so many people on YouTube right now, Wakanda isn't real. I'm like, duh. Show me one person who really believes Wakanda is real. When people talk about building a Wakanda, what they're talking about is taking the resources and means of wealth that are at your disposal and maximizing and producing. That's what they're talking about, productivity. For example, let me give you a great example. Qatar, right now, is the wealthiest nation per capita on the face of the earth. It's on average 124,000. The United States is at 59,000. So they're double per capita the wealth of the United States. They're just smaller. But they have an average IQ of 78. So it's not just given that white people always should win. It's not given that white people are gonna always win 90 years from now. The American dollar can crash right now, and let's just say cryptocurrency becomes the real, way to measure wealth on this earth. And every Bitcoin is worth $1 million. They're saying that it's gonna probably hit that when they stop. When the algorithm ends, they're saying that each Bitcoin is gonna be worth $1 million. Do you have a half of a Bitcoin right now? Or two halves of a Bitcoin? Do you know what I'm saying? Or do you have that's what I'm saying. Like, do you have a Bitcoin? Do you have some like Electronium? Do you have Litecoin? Right now there's a gold rush going on, and you got people like this brother right here telling you that you're not gonna win 100 years from now. Well, when you can go take $10, $15 right now and go buy, I don't know, one Electronium and run you 7.5 cents right now. They're saying Electronium is gonna go up to $1,375 in 2 years, by the end of next year. Could be, could not be, I don't know. But what if it does? You get what I'm saying? Back in the days when Google was first coming out, you could have invested in the IPO, initial public offering. Or you could have invested in an initial public offering of Yahoo or Google or some of these other companies. Maybe not Yahoo, they're not where they used to be. But I'm just saying, there are opportunities all around you if you open your eyes. And when you listen to people like this, he has a losing class mentality or a slave mentality. And this is the problem. You have too many Democrats, leaders, people that you elect, they think like him. And I'm gonna tell you why I also think he's a white supremacist. Not only does he believe that whites should always be supreme and they're gonna always win and you can't win, but then he thinks, I'm special. He told Boyce, I'm not your average black person. And then he proceeds to talk about how he has a trust fund, as if that's something hard to do, but I guess he has a trust fund for his child, right? So when his child turns a certain age, they're gonna get a certain amount of money. Why don't you pass the knowledge on as to how and what steps you need to take to do that so your child will at least be a millionaire? And then maybe your grandkids can be billionaires, who knows? Because let's be honest, 50% of the billionaires in this country are Jews. 100 years ago, it wasn't like that. Something changed. And we think it's always just set that we're gonna be on the bottom. I don't think so. And I think what we need to do is we need to prepare now so that when there is a great paradigm shift, and there will be for America, believe it. America's not gonna always be the shining light on the hill that it is, so quote unquote, economically, the big superpower. America's not gonna always be that. The dollar's gonna crash. There's gonna be a time where one Bitcoin is gonna, or let's just say an ounce of gold is probably gonna be worth 100,000. I can see that happening one day. I can actually see that happening. I think that America, just because we have the Fed and because we're in a certain position, we've been able and protected against inflation while other nations suffer. That day is going to end soon. China's moving, the BRIC nations, they're moving away from that. So America can and will fall. The question is, are you ready? There are going to be a lot of wealthy white people that are going to lose land in America because they're going to be dollar rich and not asset rich. So you need to obtain as much land and assets as you can now. And don't listen to people like this brother here who says that, look, I got it. Because listen to what he said. He said, I have a brother who's graduated from Harvard. He has another brother who owns real estate in New York. I guess the state of New York, I'm assuming, and that doesn't necessarily mean he's rich. He's not a multimillionaire. It doesn't sound like you come from a family of millionaires. And if you do, then That sounds even worse, that you see such lack. But anyway, let's say his brother is a decent, you know, a person that's almost a millionaire, pretty close. Then you got you, right? And you say you're the most deadly because you do what you want to do. No, you're the black sheep. To me, in my opinion, I would think he's the black sheep because you haven't achieved what your brothers have. Not in my mind. Now maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I hadn't checked the brother's channel. I hadn't checked his resume, and if he ever sees this, maybe he could be wrong. I'm not gonna put his name in here. Someone may send the brother the video. If they do, fine. Look, I'd rather he send me an email, and I'd rather talk to this brother in person. I really would. I would love to talk to this brother. So that's why, but when he said, I'm not your average black person, what he's saying is, I'm exceptional. I'm that exceptional nigga that Calvin Kennedy was talking about in Django. As if a lot of brothers don't have the opportunity. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, I'm exceptional. Now, I will give him, he comes from a 2-parent household. But just because you come from a 2-parent household, which I did too, I was born, my parents were married too. So, but the thing is, if you were born in the 70s, you probably were born in a 2-parent household. Most people born in the 70s were born, 80% of us were born in 2-parent households. And then half of us, if you were born in the 80s, were born in 2-parent households. It's not for another 20, 30 years, we're gonna see 90, 85, 70, 85% of us, or those kids haven't even grown up yet. Because the numbers shot up after the 80s. So people being born in the 90s, early 2000s, those are the people that were born pretty much to single moms. And we're gonna feel the effects of that. And I do think that the easiest way to obtain wealth in this country, I'm not gonna say easiest way, but if you grow up in a 2-family household, economically, things are easier. You can, so when he talks about most of us are hovering above poverty and things of that nature, well, what are we gonna do about it? Are we gonna sit around and pray that somehow white people are going to are gonna feel guilty about the wealth that's gonna go to their grandchildren's hands, and they're gonna give it to our grandkids? Because that's the only thing I suspect a lot of these people think, that black people need to organize and become one solid political voting block, and then we can start obtaining real things. Well, let's look at that. Everything we ask for, we're afraid to call out homosexuals. We're afraid to call out Mexicans. We're afraid to call out Hispanics. That's our competition. So even if black people do organize and go and start getting the government to give them something, other more economically viable groups like the Jews, who still can count as a minority as well, will come jump right in front of us. And you know what? Things will go even better for them because they can afford to pay lobbyists. They can afford to have a more nuanced approach to what they're really looking for, immigration, things like that. And when they allow them to come over through the immigration plan, whose jobs are they taking? What communities are they moving to? Ours. So black people are way more, it's way more complex than just voting, which is what a person like Yvette Carnell. Now, I don't know this brother. I don't know what he thinks the answer should be, but it doesn't sound like to me he believes in economic empowerment through self-economic empowerment. I don't think he believes that. I think he believes somehow, just from listening to him, that it's all, the answer is the government, the white daddy government, that's gonna somehow, we're going to shame them, just like Monique is shaming Hollywood into giving her a job. Hold your breath on that one. All you're gonna do is cause people. Now, let's use Monique, and I'm gonna end this video. Well, let's use Monique as an example. Monique goes out, whine, bitch, moans, and complains, right? What's happening? Because people are saying, well, yeah, there are things, people are struggling economically and not, females are not being paid in the industry. Yeah, we agree with that, but we don't like you. You're making excuses. You're asking for a handout. It's the same thing they tell black people. Now, I think our case is way more legit than Monique's. So our case is way stronger than Monique's. Our case is way more founded in facts and information. And we could probably actually intelligently answer questions, unlike how she couldn't answer questions at the Power 105 interview. But the point I'm trying to make is people don't feel sorry for people. A lot of times, that's not the world we live in. We live in the jungle, people. That's where we live. And once you realize that, you either grow some fangs and kill or be killed. It's really that simple. And I know what a brother like that will say. Well, there's always somebody out there with bigger fangs. Yeah, and that's why you got feet. That's why you can run, live to kill another day. You kill small. Look, there was a time where the Asians weren't as economically viable in America as they are now. But they've pretty much taken over Silicon Valley and kicked whites out of their own damn establishment. Asians have. They've taken over the state of California. They finna take over California because they have the income to back out and run California. The Asians, there was a time where Hispanics weren't economically viable in the state of California, but they're getting to a point where it's not getting to a point. They run California now. They done took it over. They kicking the black people, the white people. Everybody's getting out of California. So you don't have to lose, man. You don't have to lose. And we need to stop listening to people like this, man. That's the problem. We listen to too many people like that. I'm coming with hope. I'm coming with ideas, and I'm coming with answers. That's what I'm trying to come with. And I'm challenging you to come with the same, especially the black men that's listening to this. Thank you.
Why must I feel